Now the next speaker is my favorite one. That's me. Sometimes I look like this. Sometimes I have beard. So I keep on evolving with the time. So today I'm going to talk about evolution, the only way to last long. Being a business coach, I talk about business sustenance, longevity of the business, not only for 5 years, 10 years and sell your company, maybe having a company for 100 years or more, or how to create a legacy so that people get inspired to work with your company or be your client or you get associated with that. And to remain consistent in the market, you have to evolve. To introduce myself again, my name is Vatsal. I'm a business coach from India, Magento Board Director for Magento Association. And this is my 5th edition here. Sometimes you find me in a panel. Sometimes you find me hosting. Sometimes you find me talking here and different part of the world. Along with this, I work with different IT fraternity like WordPress, telecom, ERP, and so on. What my mission is helping IT companies grow into the world. And to do this, I have been doing this since 15 years now. So I don't sell Magento, I don't sell themes, I don't sell extensions, I don't implement it. But what I do is I love Magento, and you can see that here, right? Today I'm going to talk about the interesting topic, which is evolution, which is the way to last longer. If you can come in front, it would be interesting. We will have great talk. So what is the meaning of evolution? So evolution has, if you look at the basic definition of it, it is written here. You find in Google, gradual development of something, which is a periodic change. But this periodic change does not come up when you need it. It is compulsion order. You bring evolution to sustain. You bring evolution to stay in the race. You bring evolution when the business dynamics or the surrounding or environment changes, and you have to keep up to that. And our life, a human race, has been evolving. You can see that. This was our past, and this is where we are, right? So we all are into monkey business. But if you look at evolution, let me connect with the story. How many of you have seen Jurassic Park as a movie? How many have you been to Universal Studio in Singapore and attended the ride of this Jurassic Park? It is my favorite ride. You know, you pass through tunnels and the water and so on. Let me share a story of this. Okay, so what human being did? They made a first Jurassic Park. And a guy created an amusement park, or you can say adventurous park, and had this dinosaur there, which is very powerful. Huge in size. Lot of modules inside, you can say that. And then they created a fence, electric fence, considering that electric load will help keep this animal inside. But they were wrong. What happened is this animal came out, it broke the fences, and then you know the rest of the story. Human beings didn't end there. What they did, they created the next version of it. In the next version, you found flying dinosaurs. Those were having faster speed, they were more agile, they can accommodate to the situation, and for that it was a bird cage kind of situation. And that was also broken because the destiny was demanding something else. Then human being didn't stop there. What they did is, the recent most versions, they created this animal called Blue. What this Blue? Blue had DNA of multiple type of dinosaurs in one. Intelligent species, having a power of the first one, change the color whenever it needs, an awesome memory, and decode the sign language. It was having a bit of personalization as well. Now let's connect this to e-commerce. For me, this is Magento monolithic, and this is composable commerce. So we are changing different dinosaurs, and we are loving each of them. And every time we find a fault in one of them and try to evolve to the next version. So we had one monolithic, then we had high speed, a flying one, maybe mobile first, maybe headless, and now we have composable. Some few minutes back, my friend talked about composable architecture and said, it will be lightning fast, intelligent, 1,000 price for one SKU. Amazing. And then somebody talked about personalized ads. So we are going toward this. But do you think this is going to help? Or we are yet to evolve further? It's an interesting question. I am the old guy for e-commerce, I would say. I used to be a platform manager in 2006-07. And that platform was coded in custom PHP. Then I saw the first release of Magento, beta release. And I was the one who was given from my company that try to use this. And I had a huge A-size printout of data dictionary and the modules. And I was saying, what the hell? 5 modules to integrate this, to implement this, how come I can do it? And how I will explain to my team members. They evolve further. Then we had next species, which is front-end developer and back-end developer. Now we have next species coming in, which is talking about headless. And they are having a different versions of front ends. They are talking about omni-channel experience, and they are evolving. So what was relevant at that time was not relevant in the middle, and what was relevant in the middle was not relevant at the last. And we are still progressing. So when somebody asked me what is the future of Magento, I said, I don't know. Where we are heading, something interesting, amazing, and the better one. But we are making dinosaurs for sure, which are mammoth in size. They eat big and shit big. But when they perform amazing. Sounds familiar? It sounds familiar to the merchants more, because they are the receiving end people. Now when we look at the overall conclusion of this slide, what it means is we live in expanded reality. What you feel real right now is your expanded reality. Consider that you get to know something today in any talk. What happens is your reality expands. And from that point onwards, you start living in that extended world. That is called one of the way to evolve yourself, your knowledge, and your company. And because of that, many people visit from different parts of the world here. So always remember, what you know is never good enough. There's always going to be a better version. So keep expanding. When you look at discussion point today, so being a neutral guy, I am going to connect 3 parties today. The first party, a platform people. The second guys who are retail business owners. And third, Magento community. Let's look at the first one. I will connect back this to the strategy. So because I have been part of strategy formulation to various companies and SIs and platform. So I will connect this to the strategy. Generally, tech people don't connect back to the strategic discussions, but I will try to do it. And I will also connect with the product lifecycle. On the screen, what we have is BCG matrix. This is given by Boston Consulting Group. It is their outcome. What it means, if you look at on the x-axis and y-axis, you can see that this relative market share of any platform. And what you can see is the growth rate. So whenever something starts, you don't know what's going to be the future. What will be the market share? What will be the growth rate? So somebody is going to start, maybe starting at a dog. A lot of doubts whether they are going to survive into the market or not. Consider that they pick up the heat and they grow up fast. What happens is they become a questioner. What they do is they become a challenger and they start questioning the market leaders. So think about the platform which are questioning the market leader and challenging their existence. They have recently got launched, maybe in last 5 years. Their relative market share may be less, but that growth rate is very high. So what happens is they are making money, they are challenging the stars. Now who are stars? Stars are the people who have higher market share and their growth rate is awesome. So they are leaders into the world. Now you connect this with the Gartner's chart, which is published every year, you will now realize who are the stars, who are the challengers. Now, evolution comes here. Consider that you are a star, but you stop evolving further. what will happen is you will stop growing ahead. But you will still have a market share. So what you become is a cow. What we do with the cow? What we do with the cow? Lalit, what do we do with the cow? You milk the cow, correct. So what happens is, as your market share is big, but you are not growing, so you will try to extract as much as milk you can. So what people do is called milking the cow. And I think that is what we are doing with Magento right now. Its market share is in decline, but still it is substantially high. So all SIs and merchants are milking the cow called Magento. Now, if this cow needs to go back to the star position or remain consistent into the market, they are supposed to challenge back the challengers. They have to innovate themselves, they have to evolve further, such that they will have such a features that it will become a question again. They will start challenging the rest and again get a position of a star. If you don't evolve, cow turns into the dog. And the moment you become a dog again, people will divest money from you and people will start switching to the next platform. No wonder that Adobe and Magento SIs have started picking up next platform in their menu. I have seen earlier many websites talking that we are the Magento first company, we are Magento lovers, but now I can see different platforms, maybe blue, green, maybe yellow, or different colors, or maybe pink. So these are the different platform colors. You can start seeing in the menu. So what they are doing is trying to divest from one to the next. And this is where I thought that we should talk about evolution and evolving this community further. If you look at the product life cycle, what happens is it starts with the introduction. So any product which is introduced, gradually grow, it gets matured, and at this particular time, if you look at this line, if you stop evolving, you start declining further. So your sales decline, your profit declines. Let's connect this BCG matrix with this product life cycle. And this is the line where we are. So you start evolving further when you are actually on the top, or you just start sliding bit down. If you slide down further, what happens is you go into the negatives and you become a dog for sure. And that is where even not only platform, your IT company is also supposed to grow and evolve. Your developers has to grow and evolve. You as an entrepreneur has to grow and evolve. Otherwise, you will be a dinosaur for sure. So lizards exist, dinosaurs die. Why? Because lizards evolved. They got accustomed to the changes of the environment. So think about it. What we are doing with the technology we are working for, what we are doing with the products we have made, what was relevant and successful earlier, may not be as successful or relevant now. So what to do? It's keep on coming next. And that is where this Mac Alliance comes in, that commerce tool comes in, Shopify Plus comes in, or Big Commerce comes in, or Shopware comes in, and they start challenging the leaders, which are the first four in the Gartner quadrant. Let's look at who are there. I have a habit of working on strategy, so again I accumulated 6, I think this chart you will not find ever on earth. 6 years together, and we can see how we are evolving. So look at the first chart, it's starting from 2017, and the last one is 2022. If you start looking, I will post this on the LinkedIn and social media as well, so you can zoom it and look at it. But if we start looking here, on the leader quadrant, we have SAP on the top, then Oracle, then we had IBM, we have Salesforce, we had Magento, which is a bit below, and there is Digital River. And in Challenger, we don't have Shopify. We don't have Shopify in 2017. Now let's zoom up further. Suddenly you find a niche player called Shopify there, along with the big commerce, neck to neck, and VTEX. What happens further? Suddenly Shopify went up as a challenger, and you see a lot of players from the leader quadrant vanished. They didn't become dog, they were killed. This happens to the IT companies. That's how startups and IT company gets closed down, because they don't evolve. I'm not scaring you, but that's the fact of life. Now you start looking at here, some platforms are still there and still doing the same. I don't know what they are doing as a nonsense in 6 years. They are not evolving further, they are not growing up into the... So if you start drawing lines, you will find some are still there, they are not improving. But you will find some are improving faster. So in 2022, recently, we found there are only 4 leaders. And you can see that Shopify is on top as a challenger. The y-axis talks about ability to execute. And this is called completeness of vision. So Shopify may not be a great in terms of large implementation, but it is challenging for sure. What I'm happy about is Adobe and Salesforce going up as well as a leader. Personally, I'm a lover of Magento. So what I always look at is that still Adobe and Salesforce or the rest of the big fours are still there or not. One interesting fact, one company which is a visionary straight away entered here as a commerce tool. They didn't took a route from introduction to question mark and star. Straight away they become a star. The 4th guy on the later quadrant is commerce tools now. Why? Because of the Mac. Why? Because of composable commerce trend. Why? Because of you guys talking about headless and composable. So in their journey and their success, you guys are also contributing more because you are spreading the word called composable commerce more. So what happens is, this is how we evolve, and if we study this in detail, we have to start seeing that are we improving enough? Or are we consistent enough? Or are we staying in the quadrant or not? We have use cases that leaders vanish straight. And we also have a use case that new player become leader straight. We also have a use case that somebody's entrant become a niche player and challenge the leader. Now you connect all these slides and think about it. I will leave you guys with the question that, are we evolving our solution and platform? So this was a question to all SIs, people who do code contribution, people who have been Magento masters, people who have been wearing a tag, I am Magento guy. Think about it. Are we evolving enough? That is a question to you guys. I'm not going to answer anything today. I'm just going to put questions. Now we have a second set, which is merchant. How merchants and business owners are evolving. So if you look at their life cycle, so I have been to a Future University, which is one of the largest group in India for retail, and I was professor there. So what we were teaching to the merchants who are large scale, that they should start getting into the POS, which is automated. Later on, some of the early adapters went into the structure where they started talking about a custom-made solution, which is e-commerce platform, the era which I said, which we made in PHP or in .NET or in Java. Then what happened is they started going into the store automation. Light didn't end there. They evolved further. They took up the open sources or the enterprise edition of monolithic solutions. Then they went further. They went for mobile first. Why? Because their clients expecting them to be available on mobile. They wanted to be quick. And now it is an era where they are asked or forced to go headless, omni-channel, or they need to adapt composable. Anybody merchant here? Okay, consider that if merchant sitting in the class, and if I ask them, where you are right now, and is it required that everybody need to go headless and composable? Who is in the sales? Who is the SI sales? Okay, do you think all the merchants should go for composable, headless, or monolith is still fine? Not everyone, right? Then why you're pushing? So what happened is, they had a legacy system. It was just in store. Then they went further. Then they had multiple channels. Then people said, okay, you should have connected customer database. That is called CDM, Customer Database Management. I'm a techie guy also. I'm not just a business guy. I understand technology well. So what happens is, they said, okay, how do you know that one customer is buying where and what is the pattern and what is the money coming in? What is the LTV of a customer? So what happened is people started going for connected commerce. Then there is an era that people are struggling that if customer wants to change the buying channel, right now customer is interacting with the one channel. If they want to switch to the next, what to do? Then people are talking about omni-channel. So what happens is, this was a legacy, this is the reality. Most of the people sitting here, what we aspire them to go here is this, which is connected commerce, but we mistakenly speak that as an omni-channel. Omni-channel is true different version. It is amalgamation of offline and online together. So most of the people who said we implemented omni-channel, actually they have implemented connected commerce. That is my observation, I may be wrong. But look at the omni-channel is a complete nirvana. In current state, this is the last stage we have. Now, as a merchant, where you need to go. So consider that if I am having a 6-7 stores and I have multiple channels, I have mobile app, I have e-commerce platform, maybe you build on Magento open source or maybe Adobe Commerce, and I sell on marketplace, connected commerce is fair enough for me. Or even if I have multi-channel, that is also fine because I can afford to have different teams who is managing. But in that, what happens is I don't know where the customer is. So I have to evolve further to implement marketing automation and know the customer pulse and sell more. So what happens is you further take them to here. And then solution specialists are the partner in crime here. They suggest new features to the clients and they keep on evolving. Now, what I understood, I will give credit to this guy sitting in the front. Yesterday we were discussing our PPT. So he said evolving before time is also a crime and evolving after a timeline goes away or milestone goes away is also a crime. You know how? The gentleman sitting here, in 2014, he launched an older version of Swiggy in India. At that time, restaurants and hotels were not adapting POS, digital commerce, or restaurant automation solutions. So it was ahead of time. Think that if he would have launched that in 2018, 19, 20, he would have been billionaire right now. His startup would have become unicorn. So what happens is, if you launch something before time, so if you evolve before, then you die. And if you evolve later, then also you die. So evolving at just right time is needed. So what is that right time? So if you look at the product life cycle again, when you are on the top and you start sliding a bit back, downwards. At that time, most of the time, I have realized that CEO and the brands are in arrogance that we are on the top, we are milking a lot of money, we don't need to evolve further. And that is the exact point they start dropping down. That is the point where you have to start evolving further to be consistent or grow ahead. Otherwise, death is sure. So we have to start seeing at what point we have to do it. And everybody has a different life cycle. So company which is 25 size, company with 100 people size, company with 500 people size, and company with 1200 people size. They have to bring their new version at different time zone. Don't look at others to decide your strategy and plan because your life cycle, your product life cycle or service life cycle is different than the somebody else. So don't imitate. The best part is you have to evolve exactly on the right time. So take pragmatic decision. I love the word pragmatic because it's my company's name. But it says that you stay emotionally distant, go to the reality ground and find what is the right time for evolving. Don't miss the curve. That is important. Now if we look at the third segment. So the third segment I'm going to address today is Magento community. So who comes in the community? Anybody who makes themes, somebody makes product, somebody might have built a product on Magento, open source, Adobe Commerce, SIs, integrators, agencies, tech companies, hosting companies, all the people. All the developers, including me, somebody has nothing to do with Magento but still love Magento and talk about it. Anybody and everybody. Are we evolving with the time? So recall that 2017 to 2022 chart of Gartner. Has community evolved further? How we are growing or progressing? Are we progressing or declining? Are we changing the status quo? So it is an interesting question. So my observation about agencies and freelancers, so how many of you coder here? Okay, how many are from India? If you look at Indian companies, one of the observation I have is, still in India you find two different people. One is front-end developer and one is back-end developer. They have not evolved as a full-stack developer. Now if you ask that full-stack, consider that you are a full-stack developer and you ask that person, do you know JS framework? Why? Because we have shown a dream to the customer. Go composable. Then developer will have nightmare. Why? Because he is supposed to learn Next, Vue.js, React.js. Consider that he learns that. Then he has a question, am I a Magento developer or a custom solution developer? It is part of your evolution. To remain consistent in the life, you have to evolve further. You have to learn new things. But what I have seen with the passing of the time, and you make more money, you stop evolving. And that is where you see big agencies start declining and the newbies start becoming a challenger. Now you can relate star become a cow and cow become a dog, and question mark become a star. So always, what is the most interesting stage to be always is either a star or a question mark. Why? Because as a question mark, you are challenging, you are improving. Or as a star, you are shining, and you are being there. I like this guy. This is Simon Sinek. He has given amazing books. Earlier we used to listen Nicholas. He used to talk about purpose. It was also Start With Why, a book which is written by Simon Sinek. Another book which this guy has written is called Infinite Game. Why I talk about Infinite Game today? In my college time, I used to do boxing. And what my coach taught me, that in battlefield or in the boxing ground, in the ring, somebody who wins is the one who stands till last. If you get knocked down, you are out. If you stand tall, even though you get more punches on your face, but if you stand tall, you're there. So the life is all about surviving. Think about human life. What we are doing today, we are trying to survive today, isn't it? From your birth till you die, what you do is survive every day. Yes, no? And to survive, you do all the things which is needed, correct? And to survive human race, we produce babies and then we do a lot of things, right? Human being is the only race which evolve faster, and that is why they are the most dangerous species, cannot be controlled by any other species. Because with the same hardware, we change our software and we accommodate and adapt and embrace challenges faster. I think the same has to be with the community, technology, platform. If you understand human function, you understand whole world and business. So think about it. If you are in a game of playing an infinite game, you will evolve with the time. You will bring correct changes at the right time so that you become consistent, even you defeat Corona. Think about it. What it needs. If you want to play a lasting game, what you need to have is the first one called a just cause, which is fair and square for everyone. You need to build a trusting team. You need to study worthy rivals. So in Gartner, most of the SIs don't look at Gartner chart seriously. The one I presented, 6 years together. How many of you are going to take that chart today, draw the lines and see which is going up, which is going down? That is the CEO's job. You have to sense the market, sense the products, which is going up and not. Study worthy rivals, prepare for existential flexibility. That's where I said evolving exactly at the time when it is needed. If you evolve before time, you die. If you evolve after time, you die. And demonstrate the courage to lead. So sometimes you have to be vocal, sometimes you have to stand tall and say, okay, we made a mistake, we are going wrong, we have to correct it. I didn't shy today to speak which are the new challenges coming up. I didn't shy in saying that which is the one who started just as a visionary and straight away went up to, still I love orange. But people have started loving red, blue, green, gray, and more. Think about it. So when you talk about just a cause, it calls for 5 things. The first one, you have to stand for something. So I have a regret, or I would say I have a question with Asians that I don't sell Magento, I don't make themes, I don't make extensions, I don't do hosting, I don't implement, I don't do e-commerce consulting, I'm not a certificate trainer, I have nothing to do with it. I just empower IT companies. But what I felt is some Asians should stand for Magento community and represent Asia in the Magento board. I said, okay, I will stand in the election. And I will fight with all 9 people who are white there. It's not being racist, but it is dominated by them. And then, fortunately, I cleared all the rounds, 3 rounds, and I became a Magento director. Magento Association director, to be very specific. Now the point is, you have to stand for a community. Many of you are going to sell something today, or network today. I'm not going to do anything of that part. But I'm here for the community. So sometimes you have to stand for a platform, or a company, or for yourself. Second, you have to be open to everyone. You have to embrace new changes coming in. The way we looked at Jurassic Park story, you have to keep on embracing new changes. Sometimes you have to make blue as well. That's what he talked about today, that we can go towards composable and we can have hybrid versions as well. Sometimes you have to look at the primary benefit of others. So when you start sending for your customers or a community, you change a lot of things. You move the community miles because you're not standing in your company, your profit, your money. Instead, you are shifting a platform or a market or an industry domain. So if you stand on a bigger circle, your motive is bigger and your impact is bigger. Resilient to the political and cultural changes. So we have to embrace a lot of different cultural comments, forks which is happening, questions coming up. Somebody asked me a question last week that what the hell Magento Association does. And I was okay about it. Because every time you will find different people coming with the different intent and the question. They may be coming for knowing, maybe questioning, or maybe challenging. So you have to be resilient to it. And the last, you have to be idealistic, bold, and stay infinite. If you do this, then it is only possible that you can run infinite game. Today I'm the only one who is presenting. Today we are missing Slavat here. He didn't get a visa to attend here. Otherwise he's vice chairman in Magento Association. What I want you guys to still look at that old logo and be a member. We too have given a lot of shout out on all the social media that when Magento Association is looking for paid members and patrons, somebody standing from India, support. Surprisingly, I got most number of likes, share, and appreciation from the West. I don't know how many are patron, how many of your employees are patron, and how many of you voted. If we don't stand for our community, who else will? And that is where I have a point to all of you. If you have built castles, if you have built bungalows or bought luxury, using Magento, it's a time to give back. We don't know where we are heading, but if we give up, it's bad. So it's important that you support back and you consistently support the solution which we loved for many, many years, more than a decade. So please, this is my request, please do that. A tips for infinite game, which is what is there for you. So this is, I discuss about all three, a merchant, a platform, and then the community. Now this is a summary of it. So compose and complement your imperfections. You can evolve only when you embrace your imperfection. No platform is perfect. You will find X as good in one, Y in good in second. Something is cost effective, something is Mac, something is monolithic but standard and sustainable, something is SaaS-based and quick and fast. All have their own pluses. So we have to embrace our own imperfections and collaborate. Second, we have to be niche in doing one thing right. So that is the reason D2C brands are giving challenge to the B2C companies who are multi-brand outlets. Now you see the surge in Asia of D2C brands and they're doing awesome. The reason is they do one thing awesome. You choose a platform and be champion in that. You pick up a product and be champion in that. You start picking up the line of product and be champion in that. People will recall you. Now you look at the street where you start seeing the big brands, they do one thing right. I'm not saying a new secret sauce, but that's what the reality is, but which we miss and we don't notice. The next is capacity building. So when you choose something, you need to build a genuine capacity of it. So you have to behave like a champ. So for example, you choose X as a platform. Have good number of people doing that wonderfully well. If you say we are doing Y, pick up that and do it well, do it awesome. So behave like a champ. Start evolving when you are a cow and you just start sliding down. Let me connect back that slide so that you can still register if you have forgotten. This is the point. You are a cow making a lot of money, you have huge market share, and you are growing. You are on the top, and you feel arrogance. You have a lot of money. You feel awesome. Then you say nothing to be changed. But you start sliding down a bit. Instead of correcting that, what happens if you try to sell more? That is the exact time I request all of you to consider evolution. So start evolving when you are a cow. Now it is all CEOs sitting here. Think about it. Where is your company? It is at a question mark, star, or a cow. There are companies who are 20-year-old. There are companies which is 30-year-old. There are companies which is 5-year-old. Some people are challengers. They're growing big, and then they're challenging. The already leaders are there. They got into the game because they looked at some stars and say, okay, I want to become like that company, and I want to grow big. And they start challenging the leader. Leader ki fatti hai fir. Then leader will start thinking that, okay, how I will continue to be there. If they stop evolving, they start declining. Think about it. Humans thrive just because one reason, which I discussed and which he suggested me yesterday. We adjust to the dynamics with the same hardware. We tune our mind and the software. And as we all are part of software community at large, we have to evolve our software, our mindset, so that we sustain for long, long years. It's important to remember that either we evolve or be a dinosaur. And keep loving Jurassic Park story. I hope you will remember that for long, long years. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask me right now. And these are my credentials. You can connect to me here. And yeah, over to you. Questions? And if you don't have questions, we can go for lunch. Anyone wants to ask anything? Yeah, please go. Come here.
Can you advise anything or a pattern that you see for typical life cycle of any product, how long they are living today, right? So compared to maybe few decades ago, we could see databases are there for more than 30, 40 years or something.
Yeah, because...
So I think it's getting shorter and shorter as
Yes.
we are evolving. So what's the pattern like, anything you have observed for these platforms and technologies?
So talking about e-commerce platforms?
It can be other products as well, but in specific, let's say the e-commerce.
Okay, so when you talk about digital commerce space, I feel that evolution earlier was, say, happening at 5 years, 6 years time. Now I see we are evolving every year. Last week, I happened to see a framework which is not there in the list, which is JS-based framework, which is quite cost-effective than Shopify and fucking awesome fast. The moment they will enter, I think if they sell right, they will disrupt the market. So what is happening is, evolution speed has increased. And that is where most of the CEOs who are in mid-40s, they are feeling like retiring or selling their companies. Because keeping up the pace with the evolution coming in, changing your company, training your employee back, building the capacity, deliver, and again evolve further. So it's becoming vicious circle now. So what happened is earlier it was a fun, now it is compulsion, and it is stressful. But yes, I can see that timeline has shortened. I think platforms need to evolve every year or two. Otherwise, you're gone in the market. That is the problem.
2 to 3 years of...
2 years time. Because to stay consistent, you have to be relevant there. Because in retail, or when you specifically in commerce, what happens is it is a melting pyramid. That's what we teach in our retail class to the students. That any brand launches a new product, in 6 months' time, you will find somebody else have delivered similar kind of features and start challenging into the market. So think about one company introduce folding phone, other will launch for sure. Somebody launching 3 cameras, other will launch soon. Similarly in commerce, you introduce some functionalities and features, other platform will have that faster. So you have to catch up the pace and you have to be ahead of the time. So if you are a leader, you have to behave like it. That is where a lot of stress is there. I hope I answered what you asked.
Yeah, I mean, that's the observation we have seen. Even the merchants, for them, it's becoming more expensive, right, with this. Every
Correct.
few years, re-platforming, getting into something new. How do they respond to this?
It's an interesting question. Exactly 3 years back, I was sitting on the B2B panel, and then the guy from Circle now, at that time it was iCube company. So Mulyadi is a CEO, was a CEO at that time, who hosts Indonesia event. He asked me a question, I was sitting on and he asked me a very good question, that we recently introduced, I think it's 4 years back, we recently introduced a client with B2B features on Magento open source. We charge them hell lot of dollars. Now, in the next release or roadmap, we understood that Adobe Commerce is going to have B2B features coming as by default. Now, my client is asking, did you cheat us? Now, who is wrong here is nobody. What happens is they were at the receiving end because of the evolution. So sometimes it happens that merchant pick up one platform and then the SIs unsettle them after 6 months or a year, saying that now we have a better version. So earlier you had Dinosaur 1, now you have second one, and now second one you go to the third one. You had monolithic, now you have mobile first, or fast speed, or performancely optimized, or PWA, whatever. And then suddenly next year you go say, hey, let's have a composable or headless. So it happens that retailers are supposed to invest again and again. And that is where they question the trustworthiness or authenticity of SIs. That is also one of the challenges we are facing right now. And that is where e-commerce consultants have come up into the markets dictating what should be the right platform for you. So there is a lot of confusion, what is right for me, what is not. So you have to look at the business dynamics, look at the margins, look at your type of business model, and then choose whether you need to evolve or not. Answer to that is this. And it is very, very personalized for each brand. So for example, 7-Eleven need to evolve. Otherwise, they will have a struggle. Yesterday we were talking about the use case at which retail brand has a huge chain but not evolved faster. They have not picked up digital commerce. We looked at a case study called 7-Eleven. That's how it is. But still it is relevant, it is working for them. They may not evolve, but then they can die. That happened to all brands. Nokia, look at that. Look at many brands who have stopped evolving, they died. And I think same applies to the retailers and merchants. Anyone else? Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you, Ashish, for doing my job.
Hi. I'm Avinash Verma from Vidyaman Technologies.
Yep.
So my question is that's based on my observation completely, that currently small scale and the mid scale companies are more inclined towards the challenger companies. Like you can say that.
Yep.
I won't take the name here.
Yeah, you can take it, it's okay.
They are more inclined towards that.
Okay.
And Magento is, in our presentation also, we realize that we are focusing on composable solution, right? What about the other places, small scale and the mid scale companies? Because Magento is losing the grip. So what we are talking about, what's your thought on that?
I would feel that Magento is losing a grip is the created story, actually. Still it is relevant and fit for mid-sized companies who are okay with the monolithic solution.
Yeah,
all are not supposed to pick up composable. This is to sell more. This is the fundamentals are created and communicated. Let me give you a basic analogy. Click and collect was the original word turned to BOPIS. We understand a cloud architecture. I have studied that way back in 1999 and 2000. We learned that incremental release of a product. What to tell it now?
Still, that's what I'm saying. That
you say agile development of a product.
Yes.
So we give new names to the different things, old things, and then we say new is relevant. So we ourselves create confusion in our mind and to the client's mind. And we say this is our expanded reality. And that is what is relevant for us. If you don't do it, you will die. So we create a lot of fear. And what happens is people think, okay, I need to pick it up. If you don't pick it up, think about I am a retailer with 7 stores and I don't need connected commerce also. I am happy with cross-channel or multi-channel. That's fine. Why? Because I give shit about it. I have 5 people who can manage all channels differently. So I will pay to 5 employees instead of spending thousands of dollars in implementing omni-channel. Because I don't need it because my size is not that big.
Yeah, right.
Now it's a huge question to the sellers, to the business analyst. Business analyst term as solution specialist. So everything has new names. And then we keep on creating new confusion. We keep on creating new dinosaurs to make our life entertaining and interesting. But sometimes they kill us.
Yeah, but I agree to that. But that's the observation, because clients who are on the Magento right now, even they prefer to move.
Correct. And it's a bitter answer to tell, but yep, if you kill the brand's existence on internet, and when any customer Google it, If they don't find even a web page of it, they will doubt it. And the moment they doubt it, they switch to the next reliable option.
Yeah, right.
And that is where the SI's role come into the picture. And they say, oh, this challenger is growing, this is reliable, this is cheap, go for it. Yes, I am pointing towards killing the Magento brand and I'm hate about it and I'm fighting for it. And that's the reason I'm still in orange. Many people turn red, that's fine. But
Thank you so much.
yeah, evolution. So that is the answer. Yeah, thanks.